shot up. That is in. Murray with the win.
How are you?
When our First Lady says start, we start. Welcome, everyone. Can you hear me back there, Pat? You hear me okay? Great. Welcome, everyone. My name is Rick Morris. I'm the chairman of the Pulaski County Tourism Bureau, and certainly proud to be a part of this ceremony today as we celebrate the bicentennial tour of Route 66 in Missouri. Is that a great event or what? Say. Cool. Governor, we so appreciate you and our First Lady coming. Governor Mike and Teresa Carson, please, let's give a round of applause. Now, one thing we're proud of around here is we're patriotic folks. And I'll tell you, you look around this crowd, 31 years ago, I believe, Jim Mitchell was here, and a lot of the same faces. Some have changed, some have turned a little grayer, but one thing that's stayed the same is our patriotism. You see a lot of the same faces at some tables, but you see a lot of new faces coming up and doing the same thing, and that's caring about this community and our state. And I'll tell you, Pulaski County, Missouri is a great place in American values, in the heartland of America. And when you think about what Route 66 does in our community, we serve Fort Leonard Wood and we serve our guests that come here day in and day out from all over the world. And we're great hospitality folks, and I'll tell you, I'm proud to be a part of that. Governor, man, we are certainly proud to showcase this today. Now today, I get a chance to introduce a former state representative, a guy that's been involved in Pulaski County and showcasing Pulaski County for decades. 31 years ago, he was here, and I'll let him tell a little bit of the story, but for 14 plus years, Jim Mitchell was our state representative in the 148th state, Missouri State House. And I'll tell you, he's still involved. His wife Terry's around here somewhere. They're both still involved in community events and making our community what it is today. And I'll tell you, we certainly appreciate it. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to our former state representative, Jim Mitchell.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It is a great day in Pulaski County whenever we can have the governor come down with his lovely wife, Teresa, and visit us here in Pulaski County and be a part of this tour. Stop here in Pulaski County. We appreciate that very much. And what a great location. This historic courthouse behind us is one of two courthouses located along Route 66 throughout Missouri. So a lot of history here at this location. It seems like yesterday, it should have been 31 years ago. On July 19, 1990, the bill that I sponsored, signed into law in the front of the courthouse over here by the new park. It made 307 miles of Route 66 in Missouri, an historic byway. Missouri was the first state to do that. Others have followed us since then, but we were the first. On that day, we met Governor John Ashcroft, up at Forney Field at the Army base. I asked him if he wanted to drive the 61 Corvette down. He said, sure. We jumped in there. I jumped in the passenger seat. Off we went. We had the Bay State Cruisers, a local car club. In fact, they brought some of their cars over. We got a few members. Let's raise your hands. Thank you all. I was the escort down Route 66 to the courthouse. We had the Lakeway band here playing, warming up the crowd, but I can tell you that July didn't take much to warm the crowd up. It was hot. We had a big crowd. We had local, city, state, county officials here. And we had a lot of distinguished guests that were there. Kind of looked through the pictures that we had. A lot of them certainly are still here. Senator John T. Russell from Lebanon was the senator who handled the bill for me on the Senate side. He was here that day, along with my lovely wife, Jerry, the county collector. She was here somewhere. Near that bill sign, there's one small little boy, 4 years old, coming up on the table to John Ashbrook. That was Levi, my son. He's now 6'2", 200 some odd pounds, and I don't think he can get up on that table. But you'll see that picture in the sign. But it was a special day. There are so many reasons why that particular bill was pretty special. One of them I'd like to point out is that in the history of Pulaski County, there had never been a piece of legislation signed into law within Pulaski County. So it's a very special time, a very special place for me. There's a copy of that bill in the courthouse, and Governor Ashcroft used a picture of the event, bringing this north and steps to the courthouse. So it's a very special day, that's for sure. Next speaker was appointed by Governor Parsons to serve on the Missouri Tourism Route 66 Commission. And most recently serves on the Route 66 Association of Missouri Board of Governors. Please welcome Mrs. Louise Hardy.
I must correct. Can you hear me all right? I must correct it because I am on the Route 66 Centennial Commission. And with me today is one of my other members, and that would be your lovely Jackie Wilson. I want to thank the Tourism Bureau and all the officials that asked me to come and speak today. And I want you to know that my biggest challenge was coming up with 5 minutes. Everybody can relax. I succeeded. Okay? I want to thank you again for this honor. And today we welcome to our county and its communities, Governor and Mrs. Parson, Mayor Dr. George Lauritsen, who else here? Our county commissioners, Gene Newkirk, and Charles Bassett. Today we are celebrating the bicentennial of our great state with our own governor and our First Lady. On August 10th of 1821, no, I wasn't alive, Missouri became the 24th state as a result of the Missouri Compromise. Pulaski County is very much a part of all of our early American history. In our county, history is all around us. Waynesville was founded on the banks of the Roaring Ruby Doo in 1833 by G.W. Gibson. He is buried in the Mount Gibson Cemetery. Our county is named for Casimir Pulaski, a Polish volunteer and general in the Continental Army. He is remembered as the father of the American cavalry and is one of only 7 foreigners ever given honorary citizenship in America. Waynesville is named for Mad Anthony Wayne, also a general in the Continental Army, and with his fiery personality, he was a hero at Fort Ticonderoga, Brandywine, and Stony Point. Pulaski County's history is dotted with major events throughout American history. The infamous Trail of Tears traveled through our county in the early settlement of Waynesville during 1837 to 1839. It included 3 encampments at our own Ruby Doo Spring and the Laughlin Park. Today, that is a certified site on the National Historic Trail. Waynesville was incorporated as a city and was named the county seat in 1843, and that is the date on our clock. The Civil War arrived in 1860 and split Pulaski County in two, just like the rest of the country. Waynesville, however, was vital to the Western campaign plans of Wilson's Creek and Bee Ridge. The Wire Road, building of a neon park in St. Robert, which will save one of the last roadside parks to be found on Route 66. We're excited about that. These are all ingredients that make our county a destination for not only travelers, but lovers of history. Governor and Mrs. Parson, my friends, we hope that you enjoy your visit today. And as you're walking around here, please pause and remember the Native Americans who camped here 184 years ago as they were removed from their homes on the East Coast. Remember the Union troops who bivouacked on the Waynesville Hill, and all the troops that were stationed at Fort Leonard Wood who have visited our towns over the years and left with a great story to tell, including yours. Our people are working to make our story an even better one. And once again, on behalf of our citizens, welcome to Pulaski County. Happy 200th birthday to Missouri. And would you now join me in welcoming to our community my dear friends, the 57th Governor of Missouri and his wife, Governor Mike Parson, and First Lady Teresa Parson.
Thank you, Lou. It's great to be here in Pulaski County. Let's just give Jim a hand for what the work he did in the memory years ago. I got to tell you, you kind of set me up for a challenge there because you said no governor had done that. I got 3 years to break that, so I may be back in Pulaski County on that. That was great. What an honor that would have been for that day to recognize Route 66. Pulaski County, Waynesville. At 19 years old, brings back a lot of memories. I'm not sure at the time I come downtown for all the social events, some social events I might say. At 19 years old, coming from a little town, kind of cut my teeth on a lot of things. But if it hadn't been for Waynesville and Fort Leonard Wood, I would not be standing in front of you today as the governor of Missouri, because that's where my public service started in the United States Army. And I'm proud that I took my basic training right here at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, right here in your hometown. So, you know, being the First Lady's had the privilege of traveling around the state, and as I get to travel around all the little communities that, along with everything else we get to do, the history of our state is so remarkable, and celebrating 200 years. One thing I've told myself and my family, so many times we think we got to go somewhere on vacation, and it seems like we have a destination outside the state of Missouri. I'm telling you, there is so many things in this state that we can do as family and friends and take the opportunity to learn about the history. And what better time to do that than celebrating our 200th anniversary of the state of Missouri. Also this year is the anniversary, the 150th anniversary of the state mansion, where me and the First Lady get to reside for a short period of time. So that's also being done this year. So I'm going to test you on trivia a little bit here in Pulaski County. Who was the first guest at the state mansion? The first guest that was at the state mansion. You'll recognize the name. George Armstrong Custer was the first guest. How about that? Needless to say, he didn't come back and visit. I'll just say that he went out west there and didn't make it back on that. You know, the other thing unique about the mansion that, for me, kind of coming from, I guess, a country boy at heart, downstairs in the library, where you can go down there every evening when nobody's there, you can sit around and you think of all the people that's been through them doors. And simply because I was at Jesse James's birthplace a week ago, the library on the first floor of the mansion is where Frank James come and turned himself into the governor there at the mansion. And a short few days later, the governor pardoned him, and history was written on Frank James. But when you sit and you just kind of in awe that you get to think of those, how many people come through the doors of that mansion in 150 years times, how many decisions, how many conversations, Jim, that would have taken place in there that changed the history of our state. And then to celebrate 200 years of our state. You know, I look back at my own family tree and Teresa's family and what this state has meant to us. And I think of days, I was doing a Route 66 at the museum down at 11 a little earlier. And you know, they got all the 66 museum in there, and you got the old restaurants that were there, the old gas stations that were there, all the things in our history of our state. And one problem I have with that is I remember most of that. So for you young ones in here that don't know what I'm talking about, you need to learn a little bit about our state. But I think about who we are as Missourians, about our parents and about our grandparents, and all the things that have been passed down to us in this great state, that we get to honor all of them and celebrate 200 years. To really take a look back, as Lou's kind of talked about the history here in this county, each one of us here today has history, from our families and what they've done in their lifetimes, and what Missouri's done. You know, it's been a tough 18, 19 months. We all know kind of about what's going on in this state. But let me tell you, if you look at the history of Missouri, we've been through much worse times, much tougher times, and we've survived every one of them. And here we are today in Pulaski County celebrating this famous route and to be able to travel that. So another thing I want to do today, we're selling 200 years of the anniversary. So August the 10th is that anniversary date. And we all know what that date is. But another date I want to invite you all to is September the 18th. September the 18th. It's on a Saturday. There will be a bicentennial parade, and it'll be the bicentennial ball held at the state capitol. And for the first time in our state's history, it will be held outside. So all the public can come and enjoy that evening with us there. And we would love to have Pulaski County represented in the parade that day. We will have the Clydesdale horses will be there. We'll have a World War II veteran, a nurse. There's not very many of those around. That will be the Grand Marshal of the parade. Every parts of the state will have a representation in that parade telling the history of their community or their town for everybody to be on showcase. So it'll be a parade a little different than most of them we're used to, but it will tell the history of Missouri, all the way from Route 66 to Lewis and Clark to today's times. Each county and city will represent it. So I encourage you to be part of that day on that. There'll be fireworks that night. It'll just be a family, great opportunity for you to come out and celebrate that evening at the state capitol. And kind of finishing up here, that I just want to say today, when I think of who we are as Missourians, and why when I spent 2 tours of duty overseas, and when I stepped back on the tarmac, I'll never remember coming back to this state, I said I would never leave this state again. I said I love the people of this state, and I love this state. And I couldn't be more prouder being the governor and having the First Lady with me, celebrating 200 years of who we are. Because the one thing I will tell you about Missourians that I've known for a long time now, hardworking, neighborly people, family values, Christian values, and the love of this state and the love of this country. That's one thing that hasn't changed. And if we are truly to do our part in this 200 celebration, is to make sure these young kids that are here today understand how important those traditions are, and that they know our history and they know who we are and why we love this state and why we live in these communities like Pulaski County and what that means to us on that. I want to thank all the elected officials here. I know there's more elected officials here today, a lot of them here. So I want to give a shout out to all of you. Coming from the sheriff ranks, Sheriff, you know, and I'm glad you're doing better. I'm glad you're recovering. When we're talking about some of the things we've been talking about, local elections matter. Local elections are the people you elect to represent you because they know you know them the best. Being elected sheriff back home was the most important election I've ever had, including governor, because that was the people that knew me best and put me in a position to represent them and to keep them safe. So all of you elected officials are here today. I thank you for still continuing doing the service on the local levels, because I think that's the most important election there is. And as I climb up the ladder, I always remember those days back home. So thank you all for being here today. Thanks everybody for being here today. Let's have a great year. Let's celebrate. Things are going to get better, and we're going to enjoy 200 years of Missouri history. It is an honor and privilege to be the 57th governor. God bless you, and thank you for having me here today. Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
Shot up.